anti-Trump protests turned to violent riots as thousands took to the streets, angry over the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States. Rioters burned stores, smashed windows, and stomped cars. Many protesters tried to stop the riots and violence. The Portland police told peaceful protesters to go home as they managed and arrested the rioters for disorderly conduct and unlawful assembly. Many rioters used the cover of Trump's election to destroy private property and attack the police.
Overnight, people filling the streets in America's cities, protesting President-elect Donald Trump.
Crowds set fires, blocked freeways.
More than a dozen demonstrators are there.
Large crowds also rally against Trump's election in New York, Chicago, Dallas, and Seattle, with police making arrests in nearly every city. We went to one of those protests here in Manhattan.
Overnight protesters hit the streets from coast to coast. Seattle, Chicago, New York. Thousands of people marched in at least 10 cities, speaking out against President-elect Donald Trump.
Protests against Donald Trump's election victory surged overnight, and some became violent.
Officers in Portland, Oregon confronted thousands of protesters in what police called a riot. Some demonstrators smashed store windows. Protesters faced off with police in other cities, too, including Oakland, Denver, and Minneapolis.
In response, Donald Trump tweeted last night, "Just had a very open and successful presidential election. Now, professional protesters incited by the media are protesting. Very unfair." But
and what started off peacefully quickly turned chaotic. Overnight, violence erupted on the streets of Portland. During the second straight day of protests I got hit over the election of Donald Trump. Police in riot gear launched flashbangs and fired rubber bullets to try to break up the crowd of roughly 1,500 people. Officers declaring the demonstration a riot after several people began vandalizing cars and businesses in the city's Pearl District. Some protesters launched fireworks and other projectiles at police.
I threw a trash can at them because I'm angry. Will you go home? No, I will not go home.
At one point, a man brandishing a gun demanded the protesters move away.
I live here. Don't throw me. I didn't vote for Trump. Why are you coming at me?
There were reports of attacks on drivers. Cell phone video shows a woman throwing detergent on protesters after she left her car. What started out as a peaceful protest descended into chaos.
We are here for love. We are not here to spread hate.
Burning cars and smashed windows. A small group of protesters dressed in black, their faces covered, armed with hammers and bricks. Facing off with thousands of officers on site, many in riot gear, confronting them with flashbang grenades and pepper spray.
All of a sudden, the police officers started to spray pepper spray, and they got our audio technician. They're going to see us running because they're going to throw more flashbangs.
The chaotic scene just blocks outside the secure area of the inauguration and parade route.
I personally have anti-establishment slants, but I don't think that this is anything that I want to be a...
This checkpoint is closed!
Before the swearing-in ceremony even began, protesters tried to block checkpoint entrances. During President Trump's speech, several demonstrators were escorted out of the area. Several officers injured during the protest today, and more than 100 people arrested. Once the inaugural parade began, the newly sworn-in president facing thousands of peaceful protesters amongst his supporters. NBC's Stephanie Gosk was with him all day.
When Donald Trump took the oath of office, the people here sang, "We shall overcome."
Resist from day one!
Similar demonstrations across the country. Arrest outside Trump Tower, New York City. A human chain across San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. From Phoenix to Houston to Chicago, people protesting the country's new president on his first day in office.
In New York, thousands of protesters chanting and banging drums as they marched past Rockefeller Center up 6th Avenue. blocking off streets above Trump Tower. In Houston, angry demonstrators taking turns beating a papier-mâché likeness of Trump with a bat, then torching it. And back in Los Angeles overnight, hundreds of people shut down a major highway through downtown LA, many struggling to come to grips with the reality of a new president-elect.